Hello everyone, PamelaZero here. Welcome to Angle, a workshop about show, not tell. Let's go ahead and get diving right into it. Show not tell is an often used bit of feedback for writers. Let's go over what we can do with it and when. The first thing we've got here is how to actually identify opportunities to show not tell. Here we go. This is probably the key that people have the most trouble with. And once you figure out how to figure out where to put your show not tell, and that means what story components lend themselves to show not tell, then you can get into the nitty-gritty of it, the actual process of translating telling into showing, and then how it impacts your pace. Most of the time, show not tell takes your immersion and really gets it to a whole new level. When it impacts your pace, your story tends to run away from you only because it makes it so much more fast and immersive. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. Okay, let's start with the first part. When do I use show not tell? Okay, your first step on using show not tell is find your verbs. So let's start there. Find your verbs. Here is our very exciting example. Billy ran down the sidewalk, a nickel clutched in his hand. It was a beautiful day with a vivid blue sky and a bright sun. He could see the ice cream store just a block away, the sign outside shaped like a huge cone. Okay, that's not so bad. He saw Susie come in the other way, running towards him. He was excited about showing her his nickel and boasting about the ice cream that he was going to get. As he increased his speed, he noticed Susie darting into the ice cream store. Billy realized that she was getting ice cream too. He panicked, worried that Pete, the ice cream store owner, would sell Susie the last bits of the good flavors. Okay, let's talk about this a little bit. There is nothing terribly horribly wrong with these paragraphs. However, let's do show not tell as they apply to these paragraphs and take a look at what that does to the actual prose. Let's start by finding our verbs. Billy ran down the sidewalk, a nickel clutched in his hands. It was a beautiful day with the vivid blue sky. He could see the ice cream, the sign outside shaped. Okay, so these are all verbs, and there may even be more in here. I just grabbed the big glaring ones for us. Okay, once you go ahead and identify all your verbs, you're going to clarify the emotions that are attached to the verbs within the current point of view and determine if the verb is expository or not. Now that's a bunch of mouthful of words. Let's see what that actually means. First of all, what's our point of view? Our point of view is Billy and his point of view. He's the one running down the sidewalk. He's the one seeing the day. He's seeing the ice cream store. He's seeing Susie coming the other way. Everything is seen through his eyes. So we only want the verbs that are attached to his point of view. Okay? If this was third person omnipotent, okay, then you would probably have a lot more going on here. But right now, you're just dealing with Billy and his point of view. And then the next question is, determine if the verb is expository. What do I mean by that? If the verb is simply describing something that is out in the world itself, it's either a description of the world, a description of Billy, a description of another character that is not actually coming from the point of view, that means it's expository. It's something that's describing something around Billy. We don't need to do show not tell on an expository verb. A great example of an expository verb, the sign outside was shaped. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Sign outside was shaped. This is an expository verb. Has nothing to do with Billy. He's just seeing it, but he's not actually understanding it from his point of view. He saw Susie coming the other way. Susie is the one doing the coming, It's a verb attached to her. Okay? All right, so that should clarify that. You want the expository verbs, and anything that is not attached to his point of view, you can go ahead and you can let them go. Okay, so I've left those yellow, and now I only have Billy's point of view verbs. This actually should be expository when I think about it, though he can actually do a show not tell on that as well. Okay. Again, if this is unclear, go back and replay this part. All right, so let's take a look at this. No emotion relevant to the current point of view, not expository, keep moving. Found an emotion, show, not tell. If there is any emotion attached to the verb that can possibly be attached. Billy's running down the sidewalk. How does he feel when he's running down the sidewalk? He's clutching a nickel in his hand. How does he feel when he clutches it in his hand? This is more expository. It was a beautiful day. He can feel something from the day. That's probably why I've kept that in here. So he can actually interact with this a little bit. He could see the ice cream store. How does he feel about seeing the ice cream store? Notice when we get to the next one, shaped like a huge cone. The cone sign doesn't have emotions. So there's nothing you can do with that, and it's outside his point of view. Okay? So Susie's coming the other way, running towards him. Again, emotions outside of his point of view. He's excited about showing her his nickel. How does he feel as he was excited? How does he feel about showing her the nickel? How does he feel as he's boasting? How does he feel when he noticed Susie? These are the words that you can do show not tell on. A verb that's from the point of view of whatever you're writing that has an emotion attached to it. That's what you're looking for here. Okay? Okay, now we're going to take a little side turn here. What story components lend themselves to show not tell? There are 4 common components of a story: plot, action, exposition, and character internals. These are not the only components of a story, but these are your 4 core, most commonly used components. Okay, so you're going to really want to focus on those when you want to do show not tell. Okay. Plot is what happens when, to whom, and why. Action is character movements, fights, and travel. Exposition, explanations of the world, culture, history, and backstory of characters. Character internals, thoughts, feelings, and physical reactions of the characters. Okay? These are the components of your story, and they all need to be balanced, but that's a whole other workshop. Okay? I think I've got that one coming up next as far as these videos go. Plot does not lend itself to show not tell, mainly because it is something that happens external to the characters most of the time. They can have a feeling about what has happened, but those feelings are usually expressed through character internals. Okay. Action, character movements, fights, and travel. You can do show not tell as the character is doing an action, and sometimes that's really beneficial, but it doesn't lend itself as easily as character internals do. Exposition, explanations of the world, culture, history, and backstory. You can use show not tell in relation to the character's reaction to the world, culture, history, and backstory. Notice that these moments, these components, are all going back to character internals. This is where the most powerful moments you can have will show up in your writing. Plot twists are great, and they are like a bucket of cold water on your reader's head sometimes. But your character internals are where you build the relationship between the reader and the character so that when you do the plot twist, your reader is suitably moved. Okay? Let's go ahead and hit the next one. So let's get into the structural process of translating telling into showing. We're going to want to use character internals as often as possible. Let's see. Identify the components in each sentence. What do I mean by that? Well, so here we have the components in the sentences. Action, Billy ran down the sidewalk, something he's doing. Exposition, it was a beautiful day. We're describing the world around him. Character internals, he could see the ice cream store just a block away. Then we move to exposition, the world around him. The sign outside shaped like a huge cone. Then we've got character internals, and plot about the ice cream he was going to get. We're telling the reader what's going to happen next. It's larger than the character internals, the exposition, and the action. It's an eagle-eye view. Then we get back to action and character internals. And we end with a couple of character internals. So this is identifying the components in each sentence. Okay? When you are moving into show, not tell, focus on character internals first, then do action, then do exposition if you feel you still need more show, not tell. Start with your first character internal. Read the phrase, close your eyes, put yourself in the character's shoes, and define what you're experiencing via your senses. So, character internal. He could see the ice cream store just a block away. If you close your eyes and imagine you're running down the street like Billy and you see the ice cream store, it's just a block away. How does that make you feel? What are you smelling? What are you seeing? What are you hearing? All of these are going to impact what you put as your actual information in the next show, not tell. This gets a little bit more detailed here for you. See the ice cream store. What does it look like? How does it make you feel? What color is it? What do you smell? You're running. What noises do your feet make as they strike the pavement? Now, keep in mind, we're taking the long way road home here. Sorry. We're taking the long road here. Okay, what we're after is for you to do this process in this order intuitively. In order to get to that level of intuition, you have to do this slow slog through this over and over until this becomes second nature. Okay? So, let's take a look what we got here. You could see the ice cream store just a block away. The side of the building painted a strawberry pink. That's what he's seeing. The sign outside was shaped like a huge cone. Okay, great. That just gives us the visual. He could see the ice cream store just a block away, the sign outside shaped like a huge cone. Closing his eyes for a moment, he imagined he could smell the sweetness of a freshly made waffle cone in the air. Okay, we're hitting two senses there. His internal thoughts, which are not really a sense, but they're a component of it. And then he's also imagining he could smell the sweetness. He could see the ice cream store just a block away, the sign outside shaped like a huge cone. His mouth watered as he imagined the first lick of ice cream, sweet and freezing. We're going to taste there. He could see the ice cream store just a block away, the sign outside shaped like a huge cone. The sound of his feet slapping on the pavement, extra loud due to his new superhero sneakers, urged him on. Okay, notice we've stuck exposition in there. You can put tons of exposition. You can describe your world really fully and easily as long as you get that sensory data in there in those character internals. Okay, let's get to the next step here. Last part, how show, not tell impacts pace. Pace is a combination of writing style, formatting, and information density. Things that slow your pace. long, complex sentences, intricate vocabulary. Now, these two usually go hand in hand with people. They want to write in a certain style, and in writing in that style, they feel really comfortable. It's almost as if there's something to prove as they're writing. Frequent inclusion of semicolons, colons, and excessive commas. This is what I call micromanaging your reader. Every time you put in punctuation that's not designed to work with your reader, you're micromanaging them. Frequent inclusion of italics for non-thoughts. If you want to stress a part of your writing, use the sentence structure to do it. Don't use italics. It will slow your reader down. Excessive exposition. That's just a huge one. Same length paragraphs, same length sentences. You want to vary your paragraphs and sentences. Change is good for your reader. Excessive use of the same component. Pages of all action or all exposition, etc. And then the amount of detail that you're giving. When I say amount of detail, I don't mean sensory, internal character data. I mean, you're going into detail discussing the fleur-de-lis on the edge of a carriage, that type of thing. Things that quicken your pace, short, simple sentences, accessible vocabulary, basic punctuation, variation of paragraph and sentence length, variation of components used, and amount of detail. Notice we've got that twice. If you put a great deal of detail about the environment, about the exposition, you will slow your pace down. If you put a great deal of detail about your character internals, you will speed your pace up because your reader will become immersed. And when they are fully immersed, they gulp the words down. They race through your text. Now, sometimes you want to slow your pace down. Sometimes you want to, after a huge action scene, your reader's exhausted, their heart's been pounding, and they just need a break. Then you want to give them a break. Slow it down. Use longer sentences. Use bigger words. I will probably never agree on frequent italics for non-thoughts or excessive exposition, only because I feel like that bogs down your reader. They're not getting full value for the time and attention that they're giving you. But there are times when you do want to slow your writing down. And being able to understand when you can do that and when you should increase it is one of the great tools that you can have to get people to get from the beginning of your book to the end of your book. Now, why am I talking about pace? Because it's not easy to keep your reader engaged for an entire book. Okay? To balance the level of pace generated with show not tell, make sure to weave in sentences that slow the pace down a bit. This is important. So if you just do show not tell for every sentence in a paragraph, make sure you throw in some exposition that is not related to the character internals, okay? And that'll keep your pace from running away from you. Okay. So remember Billy and his nickel? Let's take a look at it again. First the original, and then with a few show not tells added. I'm going to go ahead and do this paragraph by paragraph so we can see the difference in the paragraphs, okay? First paragraph. Billy ran down the sidewalk, a nickel clutched in his hand. It was a beautiful day with a vivid blue sky and a bright sun. He could see the ice cream store just a block away, the sign outside shaped like a huge cone. Let's take that same paragraph and hit it with some show not tell. Billy ran down the sidewalk, a nickel clutched in his hand. Same sentence. It was a beautiful day with a vivid blue sky and a bright sun. Same sentence. He could see the ice cream store just a block away, The sign outside shaped like a huge cone. Same sentence. Closing his eyes for a moment, he imagined he could smell the sweetness of a freshly made waffle cone in the air. There's our show not tell. Let's get back to the second sentence. He saw Susie coming the other way, running towards him. He was excited about showing her his nickel and boasting about the ice cream that he was going to get. Now this is one of the key moments. He was excited. This is one of the key places that someone's going to give you the feedback. Show, not tell. Okay? Every time you say, he was happy, he was sad, he was excited, she was joyful. This is just prime location for show, not tell. As he increased his speed, he noticed Susie darting into the ice cream store. Let's take a look at what we did. Now remember, we had him closing his eyes for a moment to smell the sweetness of a freshly made waffle cone. He opened his eyes to see Susie coming the other way, running towards him. Grinning, he imagined showing her his nickel and telling her about his decision, newly made that morning over breakfast, to get the double ripple sugar fudge ice cream this week. He was excited about showing her his nickel. Grinning, he imagined showing her his nickel and telling her about his decision. Much more vivid, much more engaging, much stronger on the character internals. Let's take a look at this last paragraph. Billy realized that she was getting ice cream too. Oh, hold on, I'm sorry. I put another paragraph in here. I've turned this into 2 paragraphs. He ran faster, urged on by the sound of his feet slapping on the pavement, extra loud due to his new superhero sneakers. He saw Susie wearing a strawberry pink dress dart into the ice cream store. Billy's breath stopped for a moment. Susie is getting ice cream too. Thought italics. Put your thoughts in italics. They will stress the thoughts. Okay? And this, as he increased his speed, he noticed Susie darting into the ice cream store. He ran faster. He saw Susie wearing a strawberry pink dress dart into the ice cream store. Susie's getting ice cream too. Billy realized that she was getting ice cream too. Billy's breath stopped for a second. Susie's getting ice cream too. Putting his head down, he pumped his arms and focused on moving his legs faster. He didn't know how much of the double ripple super fudge was left clinging to the sides of the tub. Pete, the ice cream store owner, knew it was on Billy's top 10 flavors of all time list. He wouldn't give the last bit to Susie, would he? Billy realized that she was getting ice cream too. He panicked, worried that Pete, the ice cream store owner, would sell Susie the last bits of the good flavors. Take a look at the difference between these 2 paragraphs and how much more immersive this is. How much more powerful this is. It creates a relationship between Pete and Billy that wasn't there before. It gives specifics on what Billy wants rather than just generic ice cream. It gives a past history, Billy's top 10 flavors of all time list. It adds so much more to the overall experience because it's show not tell. So you've got a recording of this workshop. Go through it as you're writing. Find your verbs, figure out which verbs are from your point of view. Okay? Take a look here. Find your verbs, clarify the emotion, determine if the verb is expository. Keep moving until you find the emotion and then do show not tell. Use character internals to do most of your show not tell. Identify your components. Focus on character internals first, then action, then exposition. Put yourself in the character's shoes and define what you're experiencing via your sentences. and then things that slow your pace, and things that quicken your pace. All right, so I know that's a lot of information. Okay, but bear with me because you're going to practice this and practice it on your second drafts. That's a whole another workshop. First drafts are for you to pour your heart out onto the page, get all your thoughts down on the page, put everything on there, and translate your ideas into some storable media of some kind. Okay. Your second draft is when you start applying show not tell. You look at your pacing, you look at your story arc, your character arcs, you look at the components of your story, plot, action, exposition, character internals, and see if they're balanced out. That's your second draft. When you're working on your second draft and you add your show not tell and you add all these different parts, then you want to take that out and get as much feedback as you can, and as much as you find useful from your peers. Writing in a vacuum, especially if you're new at writing, can be just really, really time consuming. I wrote my first book in a vacuum and then had to go and rewrite the whole thing from the first word to the last word. So if you're not sure where to get feedback, head over to my Discord. I put the link in the video description. Get onto Reddit. You will need a thick skin to go onto Reddit, but I am on there only because, number one, it keeps me humble, and number two, I find an enormous set of my peers there. Some amazing writers and some very generous people when it comes to their time and giving feedback. So head over to Reddit if you don't have any other options. NaNoWriMo is a great place to find a local group. Even if you just do a Google search of your city name plus writers groups, get in a writing group, put your work out there. If you only keep it to yourself, you have a much lower chance of advancing as a writer. And that's what you want to do ultimately. You want to advance and improve as a writer. Okay. If you find the workshop useful, head over to PamelaZero.com. I have live workshops every couple of weeks, and there'll be more videos there. Feel free to check out my YouTube channel, which I'm starting to build right now. And thank you for being part of this. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Contact info is on the site. And thank you for being a writer. It makes a huge difference. All right, I'll see you guys at the next workshop. Take care. Bye-bye.